How are you, my friend?
Dobro, dobro.
Take the microphone. Okay, you are the famous photographer from Jackson, California.
Ja sam Lazo Svetlopisac.
Svetlopisac.
Da.
Tako se kaže. Hey, that's fine, that's fine. You got lots of books about the Christianity, about our monasteries.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about that, how that started and how many monasteries and churches you visit in Serbia?
I would probably say more than 10 of the Nemanja dynasty or endowment monasteries throughout Serbia, or more throughout Serbia, Montenegro, and Kosovo now.
Yeah. Okay, can you tell me a little bit about the church and about the community in Jackson?
Yep. Jackson was founded as a bunch of broken bottles down by the creek, and it was named Los Patios, as in the springs surrounded by bottles. And then Colonel Jackson came here, I think, and named it, or was named after one of the many Jacksons that have graced the United States through the years, and really got going during the gold rush time. And the Serbian community came here. There was still upheaval in the Balkans, Vala, and
thank you.
In the process, some of them ended up here to seek their fortune and a better way of life, to maybe go home and find peace and happiness and find their own land there. But others stayed here, and many perished here. 100 years ago, in August of 2022, will be the 100th anniversary of the Argonaut mine disaster, and we're going to honor not only the Protestant miners who came from throughout the world, the Catholic miners who came throughout the world, and then at that time it would have been the Austro-Hungarian miners, who are known as Serbians, mainly from Montenegro, who perished in the mine. And out of the 47 that died here in August of 1922, 11 of them are buried in the cemetery here in Jackson. So we have Jackson has a long time good relationship with the Serbian people. We now have a sister city, Herceg Novi, there in Montenegro, and this time next week we'll be on our way to Montenegro with 6 of us from Jackson to reciprocate their visitation to Jackson the last couple of years.
So you're going to take another tour and to make a new photos and new...
Of course. Some of the same old places, but it's always good to return. We'll be hosted by members of the Dabovich family who are still there and are thrilled to have our friendship across the pond.
That's nice. You're born American, and now you are Christian as a Serbian and Slav.
That's right. While I'm there, I'm going to see the author of the recently published book called Nikola Tesla in Love, which will soon be translated to English, and I wish this author well, because this book is long overdue to put a human side on Nikola Tesla, the hero of not only the Serbian people, but of technology in general that we take for granted today in this country and throughout the world.
Yep, that's nice.
So
that's very nice.
I'm hoping that its author, Anna Atanaskovic, can come over here and maybe give her book to Elon Musk, the head of Tesla, because that would be so cool to see that happen. Her books are very lyrical. She's written another book called Belgrade in Love, and what little I've been able to translate and read is just phenomenal.
And who is the author?
It's Anna Atanaskovic. Originally from central Serbia, now living in Belgrade.
So she's
her book's already been translated from Latinica into Cyrillic, and she has a representative in the United States who handles Balkan books, mainly from Serbia and former Yugoslavian countries, to get it translated. And I think if people get a hold of it and read it, no matter whether they're of Serbian descent or Orthodox or not, it's going to be a good book.
Yeah. So she's coming here, or she's
Not yet. I think she'd like to, but
I
she's
know.
on a book tour now all over the Balkans.
Oh, really? Right
The
now?
book is popular. It's in the top 10 of Serbia right now, and it's getting some good traction in Montenegro.
Oh.
Not Montenegro, in Macedonia.
In Macedonia. Yeah. So did you try this Hivovica?
Zivili.
Živeli, živeli, živeli. Cheers.
Zivili Jackson. Zivili Serbia.
Živeli.
So 100 years ago this August, Jackson will celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Argonaut mine disaster, where a fire in the Argonaut mine about 3,000 feet beneath the earth started during the middle of a shift, or just after the shift had changed, entrapping 47 miners 3,600 feet below the surface of the earth. Of the 47 miners, all perished within probably hours of the fire, but it wasn't for another 3 weeks till September 22nd that the miners were brought up, and the funerals at all 3 cemeteries here in Jackson occurred. This was the worst gold mining disaster in American history, and it happened here in Jackson, and the world was captivated. Headline screen: miners trapped deep in a California gold mine for weeks at a time. It made the career of a woman, what was her name? I'll think of it in a moment.
Okay, it's okay.
So when I get that, we'll get back here. Ruth Finney, okay. This disaster created one of the first well-known American news reporters, Ruth Finney, and catapulted her to the top of the news reporting with the scoops she was able to get by keeping her ears open and below the radar of everyone, because at that time it was a man's world in news photography and news reporting. But she scooped everyone, and at the conclusion of the bodies coming out and the funeral, she wrote probably one of the most eloquent obituaries in honor of the 47 miners that perished in the mine, which is memorialized today in the Library of Congress and on the newspapers of the day. Come the week of Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of 22, 23, and 24 of September, St. Sava Church will be one of the many venues that will be celebrating this important milestone in remembrance of the Serbian people who perished in the mine, in addition to the other more than 30 people from throughout the world that perished with them.
Yeah. So whoever wants to come to that day, they can come.
Yes, come on up. You will get to visit with some of the people who are the descendants of the miners, the descendants of the rescuers. You'll be able to visit the surface works of both the Kennedy and the Argonaut mine. The Argonaut mine where the disaster happened, and the Kennedy mine within a few hundred yards that shut down to put all their effort into trying to rescue these miners. They put aside all their work, they put aside their legal differences. They were battled in a major legal battle over their properties at the time. Didn't matter. It was more important to try to rescue these 47 trapped miners than it was to make a few more dollars in digging gold out of the ground.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
So,
Thank you, Larry.
always a pleasure to see you, Dragan.
You are history here. You are making history in Jackson.
All I do is record it.
Yeah. I like those pictures what you have when you do baptizing, christening here
Yes.
in the river or.
Yes, in the creeks of Jackson. We just hope that everybody is upstream is flushing that day and there's a lot of leakage.
That's nice. That's nice.
But nobody has got the frost like I did when there was ice on the creek.
Oh, really? Oh, sometimes.
That's it.
It's not easy to be a photographer in Jackson.
No.
Okay. Thank you.
You're
Tell
welcome.
me a little bit. Hey, you have one disaster in your house.
Yes.
You got-
In 2019, I had just returned home from working the Amador County Fair, and I got phone calls started coming in at 10:30 at night. And after the third phone call, I answered it, and it was the fire chief to tell me my family home in nearby Ione had burned, but everybody was safe. And in the process, I lost about 20 years of my photos from my early days. Some of them, luckily, were enshrined in I just found some new ones in the county archives that we're using for another project. Some of them were in the newspaper, but a lot of my early work was lost along with my mother's history writings and a pretty good library of other historic books related to Amador County. But it's behind me. I look at it philosophically. I don't have to deal with it. The house has been rebuilt. It's 80 years newer, and I didn't leave a mess behind.
That's good, thank you. Anything else to add?
Nothing I can think of other than I'm looking forward to going back to Serbia for the 8th or 9th trip in a few days.
Yep. How many days you gonna stay there?
A month.
A month? Wow,
Yep.
That's nice. So what kind of picture are you gonna make now?
We'll be taking 3 parishioners. Besides me, Father and Popadia will be going, and then they're staying another couple weeks, and I'll stay a couple more weeks. So we're going to Montenegro. We're being hosted by the Dabovic family there, and visiting some of the monasteries and other important parts of our Jackson heritage there, then traveling to Trebinje, up to Visegrad, to Mokra Gora, to a few other places, probably to Studenica. Then most people will head home, and I'll stay another couple of weeks.
Do you have some website so that people can see your artwork?
Watch our postings at St. Sava Jackson on Facebook, and occasionally I post on my own site, but it's mainly I do Facebook because it's instantaneous and it gets to more people than my own website.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
So that's the best way.
Thank you, Larry, and I hope so you're gonna make a great photos.
That's the plan. We'll see what happens.
Okay.